If you figure out the flooring and lighting for your home gym before adding the equipment, you're going to save a ton of time and a ton of hassle and turn this space into an incredible place to train. I'm going to show you exactly what I did in my basement to make it look like a commercial training facility from day one. Let's go. What's up guys, Kyle with HypertroFit.com, the best place to design your home gym and develop your training program. Today I'm going to show you exactly what I did down here to build out my floor and my light and really make this place shine, make it feel like a great place to train, and it's really not that hard to do. For most people, the best place to start with flooring are horse stall mats, something that you can pick up from a local Tractor Supply. A couple different manufacturers in flooring also sell these 4x6 rubber tiles. They're really nice because they are large, sturdy, 3/4 inches thick, and they protect your floors. I used to have a couple of these spread out in my old gym. I had one under my 4-post rack, a couple other in a few other locations, and they worked beautifully. They're not the prettiest things in the world, but they look reasonably good, especially if you have a fairly small space. Now, if you have a lot of space to cover, it can start to be a little bit of an annoyance with all of the little gaps between your 4x6 mats. So the next step up from that would be looking at either rubber, rolled flooring, or tile pieces. And what I've gone with down here is rolled flooring. Rolled flooring tends to be the most expensive, but it is the best for long runs like you see here in the basement. So I have about 56 feet of length at the longest point here and ended up needing 9 28-foot long rolls that are 4 feet wide. All in all, that was close to $3,000 worth of rubber, and that is only the top layer. I actually went a step above just putting rubber on the floor and added a subfloor using Dricore. And this is an idea that I got completely from No Way Jose, so 100% credit to him for how I've set this up because it's a direct copy of what he did in his gym. So the base level on top of the concrete is Dricore, and Dricore is 2x2 subfloor floating floor panels that just fit together. It's got a plastic membrane that sits on the concrete and the plywood on top. And what's nice about this is it allows airflow under the floor. This is going to minimize any risk of mold and moisture accumulation, and it also raises the temperature of the floor as well. According to Home Depot's website, it can raise the floor temperature by 14 degrees, which makes a big difference, especially in the winter in the basement. So by having that layer on the bottom, we have nice separation from the concrete before we add the rubber. This is going to add even more protection to the floor. The Dricore is rated for around 6,000 pounds of pressure per square foot, which is plenty for any of the equipment that's down here. And then on top of that, we're getting a little bit more fatigue resistance, I would say, to the floor because it's not just hard rubber on hard concrete. So we have a little bit more softness to it. Not that this feels soft, it's still very firm, very stable, but you can tell the difference between walking on rubber on the Dricore versus walking on rubber directly on cement. So that's what I have down here. A bunch of rolled rubber on top of Dricore on top of the concrete. I would say that this is the best way that you can go about building out your floor. Dricore may not be the most cost effective in terms of subflooring if you know how to install that yourself, but as somebody with zero floor installation experience, I was able to buy the subfloor tiles, fit them together because they just slot into one another. No other adhesive or nails or anything are required. You just knock them together and they're ready to go. Now, I will say you definitely want a flat floor to do this with. You can add some shims if there are some unlevel spots, and there are a few places down here that I needed to do that, but this is a brand new basement floor. It's very flat, it works very well, and if you do start to have some undulating spots, you'll notice it with these Dricore tiles pretty much immediately. There will be big gaps. You'll hit kind of highs and lows where it pops in and out, and it's not something that you want when you're training. You want very stable, solid flooring, so just know that going in. If you do have a space that can do it well, I highly recommend it. It's going to make everything feel a little bit more comfortable and just that much more premium if you're really going the full route of rolled rubber or the nice rubber tiles to really elevate your space. And one other quick note, with the Dricore installation, I did tape the rubber flooring to it. So there is nothing between the cement and the Dricore. The Dricore just sits directly on top. But then I did lay down floor tape on top of the Dricore at all of the edges to keep the rolled flooring adhered to the subfloor. So that is the complete installation of how this floor works. And I don't remember the exact pricing, but I want to say that the Dricore was also in the $2,000 range. So all told, I think the entirety of this 1,000 square foot 2-layer floor is around $5,000, $5,500, and I installed it myself. So that would have obviously incurred additional cost if I had hired that out, but I did do all of this myself, and it is possible to do it completely on your own. The hardest part, I would say, was managing the rolled rubber itself. Being 28 feet in length, it's 230 pounds per strip. And getting this down the stairs required a dolly. I had plenty of air in the tires so that I could take one roll at a time and just go step by step, getting it down. My basement stairs are unfinished, so I wasn't worried about doing any damage to them. But they came down easily enough, and then maneuvering them into place was quite a bit of work, but it is possible with enough willpower. But I highly recommend, if you do go the rolled flooring route, have a little bit of help. If you don't have that option, then the tile pieces that are 2x2 that can fit together are a much easier option. It just wasn't something that I wanted to deal with given the amount of space that I had to cover. Now, lighting is much more straightforward because it's a lot easier to deal with. You don't have to worry about getting this in before your equipment is in. Although I will say that the sooner you do this, the quicker your space is going to change from a dark kind of drab, especially if you're in a basement training area, to something that is bright, inviting, and makes you want to work out. So the way that I've built out the lighting in here is super simple. I took a handful of light socket to outlet adapters, screwed those into the light sockets in the ceiling, and then I bought the Barrina lights off of Amazon, these shop lights that are super affordable. 5,000 Kelvin is the brightness that I chose, which is daylight brightness, perfect down here. And what's beautiful about these is that they can daisy chain together up to 8 in a row. So off of a single light socket with that outlet conversion, you can string 8 of these lights together. What makes this so nice is that now you can have all of this lighting up and it still works off of the switch on your wall. That was one of the absolute priorities that I must have when I built this out. I wasn't going to go around and toggle on every single light and turn all these different things on every time I wanted to train. I wanted to be able to come downstairs, flip on the light switch, and light the place up. And that's exactly what this is. I have 24 total lights down here, plugged into 4 separate sockets depending on where things are at, and it works incredibly well. The install is super simple. You just screw the brackets up into the ceiling, and then the lights snap right in with little plugs connecting to each one. One end at the very end goes into the socket. You turn the switch on, leave that on the light itself, and then any time you turn on or off the power from the wall that goes to those light sockets, your lights are on or off. It works perfectly. And I'm going to show you the difference that this made in this basement, because like I said, there's a lot of space down here, and the handful of bulbs that were put in initially, yeah, they light it up enough for you to be able to see, but I can promise you, with half of the late night workouts that I'm getting in these days, if I was having to come down here and train underneath the light of a dim, warm, incandescent bulb, I'd be half asleep during most of those workouts. Compared to these, it doesn't matter what time of day I come down here, whether it's early in the morning, late at night, or midday, it looks the exact same. And having that flexibility with your training space is so valuable. The mood completely changes when the space is bright, you're ready to train and ready to go. So that is how I installed my floor and my lighting here in the pit. I'm incredibly happy with it. Again, I did this all myself with no experience having done flooring or lighting, and anybody else that wants to really improve and elevate their space can do this exact same thing. I would love to know what you guys think about this, if you've made these types of upgrades to your training space before, or if you have questions any further about what I did here. This is pretty much how it worked out, but I'd be happy to answer those if you do have them. So leave those in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next video.